gone, vanished, erased. These words echo through the annals of American history, forever intertwined with the name Jimmy Hoffa, a man who at his peak could rally thousands, cripple industries with a single word, and negotiate with the titans of industry and the underbelly of the criminal world with equal ease. Then, silence. July 30th, 1975. A seemingly ordinary summer day. Unbeknownst to all, this date would mark a turning point, not just in the annals of organized labor but in the public's fascination with mysteries that seemed to defy explanation. It was the day the music died for Jimmy Hoffa, the once untouchable king of the Teamsters Union. His disappearance, a shroud of unanswered questions, has haunted investigators, captivated conspiracy theorists, and fueled countless books and documentaries. But amidst the speculation and conjecture, one question remains constant. What happened to Jimmy Hoffa? This is the story of a man who disappeared not just from a crowded restaurant parking lot, but seemingly from the face of the earth, leaving behind a legacy shrouded in enigma and intrigue. Born in 1913, James Riddle Hoffa's early life was a crucible that forged his unwavering resolve. Growing up in poverty during the Great Depression, he witnessed firsthand the struggles of the working class. These experiences ignited a fire in his belly, a burning desire to fight for the rights of the common man. Rising through the ranks of the International Brotherhood of Teamsters, Hoffa transformed the union into a formidable force. Through shrewd negotiation tactics and an unwavering commitment to his members, he secured groundbreaking benefits and wages, earning the unwavering loyalty of truck drivers across the nation. Hoffa's influence extended far beyond the picket lines. He became a force to be reckoned with on the national stage, courted by politicians and feared by adversaries. His charisma and ability to command attention, whether addressing a crowd of thousands or negotiating behind closed doors, were legendary. But Hoffa's meteoric rise was not without its shadows. As his power grew, so too did his proximity to organized crime. His dealings with the mob, often justified as necessary evils in the ruthless world of labor relations, would ultimately come back to haunt him. The world that Jimmy Hoffa inhabited was one of smoke-filled rooms, backroom deals, and unspoken understandings. As his influence within the Teamsters grew, so too did his entanglement with figures operating on the fringes of legality. By the early 1960s, Hoffa's star had begun to dim. The once untouchable labor leader found himself in the crosshairs of Robert Kennedy, the Attorney General with a personal vendetta against organized crime and those associated with it. This relentless pursuit culminated in a conviction for jury tampering and fraud, landing Hoffa behind bars. Even prison walls couldn't diminish Hoffa's influence. From his cell, he continued to pull strings, orchestrating power plays within the Teamsters and allegedly making promises to those who could secure his release. Among these promises, it was whispered, were threats to expose the dark underbelly of the union's dealings with the mob. In 1971, after serving less than 5 years of his sentence, Hoffa was granted a commutation by President Richard Nixon. However, his freedom came at a price, a ban on engaging in union activities until 1980. This restriction, a bitter pill to swallow, fueled Hoffa's determination to reclaim his throne. July 30th, 1975. Jimmy Hoffa arrived at the Machus Red Fox restaurant in Bloomfield Township, Michigan. He was there to meet men tied to the Teamsters Union and organized crime. Hoffa felt invincible, but he was wrong. Witnesses saw Hoffa pacing outside anxious. Frustration grew with unanswered calls. These were his final moments before vanishing, leaving a void forever unfilled. Jimmy Hoffa's journey from a working-class kid to a labor titan was anything but ordinary. His formal education ended early, driven by necessity rather than choice. He took on a grueling job unloading freight for a grocery chain, a crash course in the realities of manual labor and the importance of solidarity among workers. It was during these formative years, surrounded by the sweat and toil of his fellow laborers, that Hoffa's natural leadership qualities began to emerge. He possessed a rare combination of charisma, grit, and an innate understanding of the needs and desires of the working man. The Teamsters at the time was a fledgling organization, still finding its footing in the often turbulent world of organized labor. Hoffa saw an opportunity, a chance to make a real difference in the lives of those who toiled tirelessly to keep the nation moving. He threw himself into the movement, organizing strikes, negotiating contracts, and, when necessary, facing down intimidation tactics from employers resistant to the growing power of the union. His fearlessness and unwavering commitment to his members quickly earned him their respect and loyalty. By the 1950s, Jimmy Hoffa had become synonymous with the Teamsters Union. His influence had grown exponentially, extending far beyond the loading docks and into the halls of power. He was a force to be reckoned with, a man who could bring entire industries to their knees with a single call. Hoffa understood the power of leverage, the art of negotiation in a system often rigged against the working class. He played hardball with employers, demanding better wages, safer working conditions, and comprehensive benefits for his members. His tactics weren't always pretty, but they were undeniably effective. Hoffa's critics, and there were many, accused him of strong-arm tactics, of blurring the lines between negotiation and intimidation. His supporters, however, saw him as a champion of the underdog, a man willing to fight fire with fire to secure a better life for his people. Under Hoffa's leadership, the Teamsters became the largest and most powerful union in the nation. He had secured a place at the table, a voice for the millions of Americans who kept the wheels of commerce turning. As Hoffa's power grew, so too did his proximity to the darker side of American life. The line between legitimate labor negotiations and the shadowy world of organized crime blurred, a dangerous dance that would have far-reaching consequences. Rumors swirled about Hoffa's connections to the mafia, whispers of backroom deals and unspoken agreements. His critics accused him of using union funds to finance risky ventures, of aligning himself with criminals who sought to profit from the Teamsters' vast financial resources. These accusations culminated in a series of high-profile investigations, with Hoffa finding himself in the crosshairs of the very government he had once courted. He vehemently denied any wrongdoing, proclaiming his innocence and denouncing the investigations as politically motivated witch hunts. Despite his defiant stance, the legal battles took a toll. Hoffa's reputation, once unassailable, was tarnished. The man who had once been hailed as a working-class hero was now viewed with suspicion, his legacy forever intertwined with the specter of organized crime. In 1964, Hoffa's legal troubles caught up with him. He was convicted on charges of jury tampering and fraud, a devastating blow that sent shockwaves through the labor movement. The man who had once seemed invincible was sentenced to prison, his reign as the king of the Teamsters seemingly over. But even behind bars, Hoffa's influence lingered. He still held sway over loyal factions within the Teamsters, and rumors persisted that he was pulling strings from his prison cell, orchestrating power plays and plotting his eventual return to power. In 1971, after serving less than 5 years of his sentence, Hoffa was granted clemency by President Richard Nixon. His freedom, however, came with a steep price, a ban on engaging in union activities until 1980. This restriction, a bitter pill to swallow, fueled Hoffa's burning desire to reclaim his throne. He emerged from prison a changed man, hardened by his experiences but determined to restore his legacy. The world, however, had moved on. The Teamsters he once knew had shifted, new power dynamics were at play, and the alliances he had forged in the shadows were about to be tested. The Machus Red Fox restaurant, nestled in the heart of Bloomfield Township, Michigan, was an unlikely setting for a meeting that would become the stuff of legend. Known for its upscale clientele and discreet atmosphere, it was a favorite haunt of businessmen, politicians, and, as fate would have it, individuals with ties to the criminal underworld. It was here, on a sweltering summer afternoon, that Jimmy Hoffa had agreed to meet with a group of men who held the keys to his future. He had meticulously planned this rendezvous, believing it to be a crucial step in his quest to reclaim his throne atop the Teamsters Union. Witnesses later recalled seeing Hoffa arriving at the restaurant shortly after 2 p.m. He was alone, his face etched with a mixture of anticipation and anxiety. He had assured his wife Josephine that this meeting was nothing out of the ordinary, just another business lunch with associates. He had, however, confided in close confidants that he believed this meeting had the potential to reshape the power dynamics within the Teamsters. He was walking a tightrope, navigating a treacherous landscape where loyalty was fluid and betrayal was a constant threat. As Hoffa made his way into the restaurant, a series of cars arrived in quick succession, their occupants men whose faces were unfamiliar to the restaurant's staff. They were, however, well known to law enforcement agencies across the country, their names synonymous with organized crime and the shadowy figures who operated on the fringes of legality. Among those present at the meeting were Anthony Tony Jack Giacalone and Anthony Tony Pro Provenzano, two powerful mafia figures with deep ties to the Teamsters Union. Their relationship with Hoffa was complex, a tangled web of past alliances, simmering resentments and unspoken threats. Hoffa had once considered Provenzano a close ally, but their relationship had soured during Hoffa's time in prison. Provenzano, believing Hoffa had betrayed him, had allegedly vowed revenge, a threat that had followed Hoffa like a dark cloud since his release. The details of what transpired within the walls of the Machus Red Fox that afternoon remain shrouded in mystery. Witnesses who were present in the restaurant that day could only recall seeing Hoffa engaged in intense conversations with his associates, their voices hushed, their expressions unreadable. As the afternoon wore on, Hoffa appeared agitated, pacing outside the restaurant, waiting for someone who never arrived. He made several phone calls, his voice laced with frustration. The last time Hoffa was seen was around 2:45 p.m., standing near his car in the restaurant parking lot. He told his wife if he wasn't home by 4 p.m., something was wrong. Josephine's concern escalated into panic. Jimmy Hoffa had vanished, and the mystery was about to grip the nation. News of Jimmy Hoffa's disappearance spread like wildfire, igniting a media frenzy. Theories abounded, each more outlandish than the last. Had he been the victim of a mob hit? Had he gone into hiding? Or had he staged his own disappearance? The FBI launched a full-scale investigation. They combed the Machus Red Fox restaurant for clues. The investigation proved frustratingly fruitless. Conflicting accounts deepened the mystery. The case became one of the greatest mysteries in American history. The FBI, faced with a rapidly evolving and increasingly complex case, assembled a task force dedicated solely to unraveling the mystery of Jimmy Hoffa's disappearance. Agents fanned out across the country, following leads, interviewing informants, and chasing down every rumor and whisper that might shed light on Hoffa's fate. The investigation quickly expanded beyond the borders of Michigan, encompassing multiple states and delving into the intricate web of organized crime that stretched across the nation. Agents pursued theories ranging from a mob-sanctioned hit to a botched kidnapping, each lead leading them down a rabbit hole of dead ends and conflicting accounts. The Machus Red Fox restaurant became a focal point of the investigation, with forensic teams meticulously combing the scene for any trace of DNA, fingerprints, or other evidence that could connect Hoffa to his abductors or shed light on his final moments. Despite the extensive resources and manpower dedicated to the case, the investigation seemed to hit roadblock after roadblock. Witnesses clammed up, fearing for their safety if they cooperated with authorities. Evidence was scarce, and the few leads that did emerge often led to more questions than answers. The disappearance of Jimmy Hoffa was no ordinary missing person case, quickly recognized by seasoned investigators. The FBI cast a wide net, hauling in known associates from both sides of the law: Teamsters officials, mob enforcers, shady businessmen. Despite relentless questioning, fear kept those with knowledge silent, knowing that breaking the code could have deadly consequences. To understand the Hoffa case, investigators delved into the labyrinthine world he'd navigated for decades. The FBI re-examined past investigations, seeking patterns, grudges, and potential motives that might have led to his disappearance. From the outset, organized crime loomed large over the Hoffa investigation. The FBI utilized wiretaps, informants, and surveillance to penetrate the mob's code of silence. Hoffa had been playing a dangerous game, attempting to leverage his past connections to regain his footing. The FBI turned to informants, individuals who operated in the gray areas between law enforcement and organized crime. These whispers painted a grim picture, suggesting Hoffa had met a violent end, his body disposed of in a manner that ensured it would never be found. Weeks turned into months, and the initial frenzy surrounding the Hoffa case began to subside. Despite tireless efforts, the case remained stubbornly unsolved, with witnesses recanting their stories and alibis fabricated. Years turned into decades, and the once intense glare of the national spotlight on the Hoffa case dimmed. The FBI's task force continued to pursue leads, re-interview witnesses, and re-examine evidence with new technology. The mystery of Jimmy Hoffa's disappearance refused to die, remaining an open wound for his family and a source of endless speculation. In 2004, a glimmer of hope emerged from a house on Eldorado Avenue in suburban Detroit. Frank Sheeran, a former Teamsters official, claimed he had driven Hoffa to the house where he was allegedly murdered. Despite an exhaustive search, no trace of Hoffa's remains were found, leaving investigators to grapple with the possibility that Sheeran's account was a fabrication. The years following the search saw a resurgence of interest in the Hoffa case, fueled by documentaries and books. Despite the flurry of activity, no concrete evidence emerged to definitively solve the case. The Hoffa investigation was plagued by misinformation, half-truths, and deliberate attempts to mislead investigators. The truth remained elusive, buried beneath layers of deceit, a testament to the enduring power of lies. Despite the passage of time, the search for Jimmy Hoffa continues. Advances in forensic science and investigative techniques offer glimmers of hope, the possibility that new evidence might yet emerge. The disappearance of Jimmy Hoffa remains one of the most enduring mysteries in American history. The case has become larger than life, a symbol of the enduring power of mystery and the human fascination with the unknown. The enduring mystery of Jimmy Hoffa's disappearance has left an indelible mark on American culture. Theories abound, ranging from the plausible to the outlandish, each breathing new life into the case. The search for answers has become a journey into a labyrinth of speculation, a testament to the enduring power of mystery. Lost in the whirlwind of speculation is the very real human cost of Jimmy Hoffa's disappearance. For his family, the pain of his absence has never faded, the wound of his loss never fully healed. The search for Jimmy Hoffa is more than just a quest for answers. It is a search for closure, for a sense of peace for his family.